Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be doing some server maintenance here at the primary site as well as at the data center. Right now, as you can see right there, this server right there is actually from the data center. I brought it over here because I'm trying to get some files off of it so I can reset it and get it on proxmox, so that way I can run proxmox on this and add this to a fourth node in my second cluster over at the data center because I need some extra power in that cluster. I think for what I'm trying to do, I want to have extra power available. Right now I'm sitting about half capacity on that cluster, but I'd like to migrate more from the servers that I have here over to the data center, and some of those things do include on that server right there, those virtual machines on that server right there is some of the stuff I'm trying to move over there. In addition to that, there's a few other things that I'm trying to move, some other bigger virtual machines I'd like to move there that I just don't have the power for right now. So this server is not like a miracle, like it doesn't have a ton of power. It's got 64 gigs of RAM, I think 20 some cores, so it'll be pretty much in line with the servers that are there. But what it's going to allow me to do is give me the capacity for now to scale and migrate all of my stuff to the data center, and then get rid of the servers I have out in the other building at this site. Get rid of those servers, move those over to the data center to have redundant open sense boxes for my firewall. So that's going to allow me extra redundancy, more reliability, and not having to run power for all of the stuff here. It's going to save power. It's going to be a pretty sweet setup. So I think if I can consolidate everything to the data center, I can just have a small little proxmox cluster here as kind of a cold backup. I guess not cold, to be a hot backup of everything. I'll still run my storage server here. I'll still run probably a virtualization server here because I like having VMs for DNS servers and that kind of thing. But by moving everything over to the data center, I'll get extra reliability. Don't have to hear the loud sounds of servers here. It'll be so much better. So that's kind of where I'm pushing towards at the moment. Just waiting on some files to transfer off of this server right now. And then I'll be able to reset this thing. So quick little update here on everything going on. I believe earlier I talked about how I'm going to be moving some servers to the data center, and I have kind of started that process. It is quite the process, let me tell you. Essentially what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to move my SSD, my all SSD based server with 128 gigs of RAM, trying to move that over to the data center. But to do that, I need to move my VMs from my proxmox cluster here at this building. I have to move those to the data center. That way I don't have like insane amounts of downtime. And because I need to factory reset that server, that way I can move it to a different proxmox data center, all that kind of stuff. So let me give you some specs here for my data center cluster. At the moment, I have four hosts now. The fourth host I just added recently. It was just running Ubuntu, like just bare metal Ubuntu. But I did switch that over, and now it is running proxmox, and it's in the cluster with everything else. So we have about 136 CPU cores available right now. We're using 3% of that. We have 250 gigabytes of RAM. We're using 45% of that, and we have 88.23 terabytes available. We're using 49% of that. Every server is sitting anywhere from 39 to 51% right now in that cluster, so it's a little high, higher than my liking. But that's going to be solved as soon as I move the SSD server over to there, which I think is going to clean things up quite a bit. So part of me moving that server over there is taking out two servers. I have two 1U servers that are Dell PowerEdge R420s. Those things have been great for years. I'm finally, I think, going to get rid of those, or at least decommission them for a while. Those things have been great to me. They've got 64 gigs of RAM. They're just 1U little servers, little guys. I have just cleared everything off of them, so I'm going to take those back here, move that other server to the data center at some point here soon, and I'll get that process going of getting that server in the cluster. So we'll have a 5-server proxmox cluster at the data center. It is August 26th. I am currently in the process of migrating my OpenSense VM to the last server in this cluster. So what I'm doing is I am essentially shutting everything down, migrating it to a new server, to the one server that I am going to keep from proxmox. I'm migrating everything to that server, and then copying its disk. I'm moving it over through proxmox, copying it over to the local ZFS pool that I have created on that server. So that's killing a few birds with one stone. That's not only getting rid of my Ceph cluster, which I would need to get rid of it unless I want to have multiple proxmox nodes on the network anyways, but it is also moving the virtual machine itself over to the one server I'm keeping, meaning there will be less of a process for me to migrate my VMs over to the server since they'll already be on there. So I'm on my last virtual machine right now. It's the OpenSense virtual machine. I've shut that one down. I'm migrating it over into right now, moving the disk over. All of the other VMs are ready. So right now, once that's done, it is going to be a matter of shutting down all 3 of the nodes in the proxmox cluster, moving the one node I'm keeping to my MDF rack, uninstalling the one node I'm not keeping in that rack, as well as unhooking up, I guess you could say, the last node that is actually sitting on top of the rack right now, since in the previous clip you would have seen me take that out of the other building and move it to my MDF. So a little bit of a migration process here, some growing pains, I guess, but we're almost there. We are 43% through the disk moving process. So pretty much that is it. One thing to note is that if you have any questions about ZFS, leave a comment down below. I should be able to help you in a new video. I'll make a video probably eventually about it. It's actually a lot better and easier to use than I thought it would be. I had kind of low expectations for it just because I've always been one of the hardware RAID people my entire life. I've been used to the hardware RAID. I like hardware RAID, but seeing how easy ZFS is, it's pretty easy for me to recommend, actually. And it's super nice that you can do it all through software. You don't have to shut down your server to do any kind of maintenance or anything, to like replace drives, that kind of thing, like you do with hardware RAID servers. So it's really cool how you can do that on the server itself now through the software. Technology has definitely improved. So I'm going to wait for this migration here to finish, and then I'm going to, like I said, do all that stuff, flip it around. We'll be right back. Wanted to show you the server. This is the last one up here. There is quite a few bugs and that kind of thing. I'm not a huge fan of bugs, so that's not super exciting to me, but what I will have to do is plug in the fiber cable right here. There's the fiber cable. It's actually plugged into this server. I'm going to have to migrate that over to that network switch over there, and that is because this server used to output the networking and output it to the other switch over there, but because the server is going away, obviously I need to relocate that fiber, so I'm going to do that. So I've made it back in with the server. Right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to unrack the server that is right here. This is the guy that's going to the data center. So I just have to pull this out, but I have to unplug all the cables from the back of it first, then we can pull it out. Now I'm sliding in the new server. This thing is obviously a lot smaller, and it will fit in the rack a lot better than the other one did. Just like so. Now I'm going to go plug in the cables, fire this thing up. We should be off to the races. Very exciting. So here's a update here. I've got the new node online. As you can see right in here, we've got the new, right there. Right, that one right there, that one new server right there. Got that one online with proxmox. It is booting up all of my VMs right now. I have removed the other 2 hosts from the data center on proxmox, as well as I also removed the Ceph configuration because that was causing some boot issues. I got that sorted out though, not that big a deal. OpenSense is booting now. I reassigned the bridge interface for that. I will say just one note, I guess, if you're thinking about doing OpenSense, I really recommend it, especially on proxmox. I used to run OpenSense on a KVM virtual machine, which is on a bare metal Ubuntu box, but that was always having some kind of boot issues. But OpenSense here on proxmox is so much better, and it boots stable. The boot is stable, and it's really reliable. So I'm really impressed with that. It's a lot better than it was over on the dark side of just KVM running on Ubuntu. If you look right there, that is the server that is going to the data center. This guy has got like 128 gigs of RAM. It's got a ton of cores, so I can load that thing up with some SSDs. Like I mentioned earlier, this one right here is going to be a new router for the data center. It's going to be a redundant OpenSense router to the box that I have already over there, I guess, running OpenSense. That will be a project down the line. I'll make a video about it. It's really cool. I do really enjoy high availability on OpenSense. I've had some issues with it in the past, but that was due to me not knowing what I was doing. But now that I'm a little more educated in the field and I know what I'm doing, it's been a lot better. I used to run 2 virtual machines of OpenSense actually that were redundant, So yeah, that is about all for this. Looks like OpenSense just finished booting here on the virtual machine, and everything seems to be going as expected, although the server is flashing. Not sure why it's complaining, but it's complaining about something. I'll have to take a look at that. The warning light is on that thing, but all the drives look good, everything's good. The ZFS pool came up with no problems. I realize it's not really a network related thing, I don't think, at this point, but that's about it. So I'm getting a bunch of uptime alerts on my watch and my phone right now for everything coming up online. I appreciate you watching this video. If this is stuff that you enjoy, make sure to subscribe. A lot more of this stuff coming soon, more data center stuff probably. I got some security camera installations going on. I'm helping a nearby city actually do some work as well, so a ton of fun stuff coming up. If you like this stuff, like I said, please subscribe. This is really fun stuff. I'm having a lot of fun. So thank you for watching this video. Have a fantastic day. I will see you in the next video.